Hello guys, it's Jamie. Welcome back to another video. I love doing these videos. I love talking about anticipated releases coming up in the next year. Do other people like them? I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people don't care. But I just love researching like all these anticipated releases. And so today I'm here to tell you some amazing sounding books that are coming out in 2023. I've already started doing pre-orders, which might be a little bit silly before like seeing reviews, before people like hearing what people think about them, but I'm just too excited. So today I have 58 releases to talk to you about in 2023. Most of them are thrillers or romances, but I have some other genres sprinkled in there as well. I'm talking about the books that have really caught my attention, and thrillers and romances, that's my bread and butter. That's my like, So without further ado, because this is going to be such a long video, we're just gonna get straight into it. I'm gonna go in chronological order of when these books are being released, and I hope that you enjoy. The first book that I want to talk to you about is being released on the 1st of January, and that is Sing Me to Sleep by Gabby Burton. I'm sure you're all very surprised about the fact that I'm mentioning this because it is a YA fantasy, which is not my usual genre of choice. However, it just looks so interesting, and I'm actually really keen to check this one out. This is a debut novel and the start of a new YA fantasy series, and it's about sirens. I don't know, there's something about like ocean themes that I really am addicted to. Like, I love it, and the fact that this is about sirens, love that. Like, one of my favorite mythological kind of creatures. It looks like it is full of so many fun things like political and royal intrigue, obviously sirens. It looks like it's really dark and twisted, and there's blackmail involved. I don't know, but it just sounds really good, and I'm really excited to give this one a go. Next, we have one of the books that I'm most excited for, and if you know me, you know why. Next is The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. This is the first book in a new series set in the Cruel Prince world in Elfheim, and this is being released on the 3rd of January. This follows the story of Prince Oak, who, if you have read the Cruel Prince series, then you'll know what relevance he has to the story. It just looks so exciting. Like, I'm so excited to dive back into this world with Oak as the main character, so hopefully we get to see a bit of Jude and Carden in this novel as well. I'm so excited for this. I cannot wait. I'm sure many of you are also really looking forward to this book. Next, we have The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. This is also being released on the 3rd of January, and this is a thriller. It's basically about two people in their adulthood who were friends in childhood going on a holiday, and there's like all this crazy stuff that goes wrong in this weird villa. I think there is like a famous rock star that gets murdered. It just looks so drama fueled, and I've never read anything by Rachel Hawkins before, and this one sounds really promising. I'm really excited for this one. Also on the 3rd of January, we have They're Watching You by Chelsea Ichaso. This is a YA thriller mystery, and after reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and loving it, I'm really excited to give this genre more of a go, especially because I love thrillers anyway, and I feel like there are a lot of YA thrillers that I'm missing out on because of my prejudice against YA novels, which I need to work on. Like, I really do. Basically, this looks like it is set at a boarding school. A girl goes missing, and in her things they find an invitation to a secret society. All my favorite things. So of course I'm really excited to check this one out. And also on the 3rd of January, we have Sleep No More by Jane Ann Krentz. This is a paranormal romance. I've never read anything by this author, and I also haven't read any paranormal romance before, but the title really got me because it's, you know, Macbeth, and I love Macbeth, so like, of course this has drawn me in. Basically, it follows the story of 3 women who were strangers. They met up, and then all of a sudden they wake up the next morning, they can't remember anything. So it's about these like 3 unlikely friends who are trying to figure out what happened to them the night before. Also, I'm pretty sure they have like secret powers after that evening as well. I don't know where the paranormal romance aspect comes in, but it is on the Goodreads page, so maybe it's like a little harem romance. I have no idea, but I'm excited to read this. Next, we have Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. This is also being released on the 3rd of January, and I will literally read anything that Talia Hibbert writes. This is a cute little YA romance, and I don't usually read YA romance, but again, it's Talia Hibbert, like I have to. Apparently, they both sign up for a survival course in the woods and like get to know each other, these 2 characters, and they're like polar opposites. So I believe it's like an opposites attract romance. Next, we have a thriller called All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willem. This is being released on the 10th of January. This is basically about a married couple whose infant son goes missing when they are sleeping in the next room to him, and now our main character has spent her entire life dedicated to trying to find her missing son, and because of that she literally has not slept in like a year. I don't know, it sounds really intriguing. I'm really excited to read this. Next we have a contemporary adult romance called Lunar Love by Lauren Kung Jessen. This is being released on the 10th of January. It's basically an enemies to lovers, like career rivals romance about this woman who doesn't believe in love, but then she inherits her grandmother's like matchmaking business, which is all based on Chinese astrology. And there's also a guy who is like a rival matchmaking business. It just looks so fun and I'm really excited to give this one a go. Another rom-com, we have X's and O's by Amy Lee, also being released on the 10th of January. This is like a roommate romance. Our main character is a romance author, but she has had so many failed relationships, she decides to, instead of like forcing it, just kind of meeting up with all of her exes from the past and seeing if there's a spark, seeing if she missed something in their past relationships, and her roommate helps her out, but during the process they kind of realize that maybe they are the ones that are meant to be together. It just looks so fun, so cute. I love a rom-com, so very excited. Next we have a mystery called The Things We Do to Our Friends. This is by Heather Darwent and this is also being released on January 10th. This is about a collection of students at the University of Edinburgh, so it's kind of like dark academia vibes. I think it's all just very dark, very intense, and yeah, it's a mystery thriller, so I'm excited to read this, and especially because it's like kind of dark academia vibes, like love that. We also have the rom-com agenda by Jane Denker. This is being released on the 10th of January, and yeah, it's a little rom-com moment. Pretty sure it's friends to lovers, like slow burn about this woman who's obsessed with finding love and the guy that's kind of like helping her find it even though he doesn't really believe in love, and then them kind of falling in love together. So here for it, so cute. Next we have The Survivalists by Kashana Corley. This is also being released on the 10th of January. This one sounds so good. This is about a woman who moves in with her new boyfriend and then she realizes that her boyfriend's roommates are all like doomsday preppers, and she falls into this world of like doomsday prepping with all this like dark shit going on, and she's like, how did I get here? She's busy working on her career, but then she's surrounded by these like absolute weirdos. It just sounds so funny, so good. I'm really excited to read this one. Oh my goodness. Next we have How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix, being released on January 14th. I love Grady Hendrix. I still have a few of his books that I need to read on his backlist, but My Best Friend's Exorcism is one of my favorite horrors, and I love haunted house books. I love books about haunted houses, and this just looks so good. I don't even need to look up the synopsis. I just know that I'm gonna want to read this. It actually seems like COVID is going to be a massive theme in this book, which is really interesting. Like, I haven't yet read a book that features the coronavirus so heavily. I mean, I've read books that mention it like in passing, but never one where it's like kind of set in that time. So I feel like this one's gonna be really interesting to read, especially in kind of like a horror context. Next we have The Fraud Squad by Kyla Zhao. This is being released on the 17th of January. This is an adult contemporary. It's also a debut novel, and it's about a woman who infiltrates the Singapore like high society, and I'm really excited to read this. I love reading about like toxic rich people and also like a rags to riches story as well, so I'm really excited to read this. Next we have Do I Know You by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broker. This is like a couple writing duo, and this book just looks really interesting. Like, it doesn't look like anything I've read before, but it looks so fun. It's about this married couple that goes on holiday, and when they're there they get mistaken for either newlyweds or strangers, I don't know. So they kind of like take on these roles and reignite their marriage because their marriage had been getting a bit stale. It just looks really fun and cute, and I love a second chance romance, and I love like a marriage in turmoil. I don't know, I'm here for it, and I really want to give this a go. Next we have Vampire Weekend by Mike Chen, being released on the 31st of January. This is about a woman who's also a vampire, and she's also in a band, and obviously she's a vampire. She can't reveal that to people, but as her band gets kind of famous, she's like, oh no, people are gonna find out I'm a vampire. I love vampire stories, and this one seems really fun and quirky and a bit different, and I'm so excited to read this one as well. We have Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun by Al Cosimano. This is being released on the 31st of January as well, and this is the third and final installment in the Finley Donovan series. I have been reading the Finley Donovan series this year, so I'm really excited to read the final installment. I don't even need to know what the synopsis is, but I just love Finley Donovan, and I love these cozy mysteries, and I love like a comedy of errors, and that's exactly what this is. So I'm so excited to conclude the story. I'm not even sure if it's the conclusion, it's just the next installment, but regardless, I'm excited to read it. it. And then we have The Black Queen by Jumata Emil. This is also being released on the 31st of January, and this is a YA thriller mystery. It is about a black girl who becomes prom queen, and then she is murdered, and so her best friend, who is also black, is convinced that it's this like white bitch who murdered her so she could be prom queen. And then there's all this like mystery that goes on, and our female main character like tries to befriend this white bitch, but then this white bitch has also got something else going on. It just looks really good. It looks really thrilling and gripping while also having like a really intense subject matter. Next we have Seven Faceless Saints by M.K. Lobb. This is the first in a new fantasy series. Honestly, not to be shallow, but like the cover just looks so engaging, so exciting, so dark. I'm really excited for it. It is a dark fantasy with like a murder mystery twist, and anything that has murder mystery in it, you know that I'm sold, so I'm really excited to read this one. Next we have Going Dark by Melissa de la Cruz, which is also being released on February 7th. This is a thriller mystery. Basically there's a social media influencer that just goes missing off the face of the earth, and then this missing person's case seems to tie in with some other missing person's case, and it's about investigating all these people. It just looks so exciting, and I'm really excited to read this one. I don't know why, I also just love books about influencers. I can't explain it. Just love them. Next we have Just My Type by Fallon Ballard. This is also being released on February 7th, and it looks like another really fun rom-com. This looks like it is a second chance, like enemies to lovers romance, about this woman and her ex. They both get hired by the same newspaper to write like a relationship column, and so they're kind of like both competing for different relationship columns while also having to try and like get out there and learn how to be like a different sort of person in the dating world. It just looks really fun and cute. I love a second chance romance, so I'm here for it. Next we have Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. I'm so excited to read this one. This is also coming out on February 7th. This is a rom-com about two adults who, I think when they were kids, like they kind of had crushes on each other, and then the guy moves back into their like small town, and they kind of develop some semblance of feelings for each other again, and it just looks so good, so exciting. Next we have The Pledge by Cale Dietrich. This is being released on February 14th, and this is a YA horror. It's basically about a masked killer who focuses on killing frat boys. It seems to be like kind of a slasher, so I'm really here for that. After reading some pretty good YA horror in the past year, I'm really excited to read some more and explore more of the genre. I think we have another rom-com here. This is called Not That Kind of Ever After by Lucy Adams. This is being released on the 16th of February. This is about a woman who is a writer, but she's never really been interested in love. She's never really had a relationship. I don't know what happens. She decides to like kind of go out on the dating scene, and then she accidentally goes viral. It looks really fun. I love stories about going viral, and this just looks really cute. It doesn't look like super rom-com-y. It definitely seems like more of like a character's journey on being okay by herself and being okay with her friends being in relationships. So I'm excited to read this one. It looks really cute. Next we have another young adult horror. This is Where Darkness Blooms by Andrea Hanna, and this is being released on the 21st of February. This is basically about a small town where there is always a case of like some sort of missing woman. Like the town just manages to like take these women off the face of the earth. It's basically about this group of daughters whose mothers have gone missing, trying to solve the case, and it just looks really exciting, really heavy, and I'm excited to read this. Next we have Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. This is also being released on February 21st, and this is the sequel to Things We Never Got Over, so obviously I'm really excited to read this and dive back into this small town romance. I will say this is about two characters that I don't care about as much, but I really like Lucy Score's writing style. I really like her kind of slow burn storytelling, so I am obviously really excited to read this one. Next we have For Her Consideration by Amy Spalding, being released on the 28th of February, and this is a lesbian rom-com. Hello, so excited for this. It's basically about a movie writer and a leading lady. I'm just so excited. It's about these two lesbians who are unlucky in love and then decide to just give things a go. It looks so good, and obviously I'm really excited for this. Okay, sorry, I had to take a quick break because I had to charge my camera, so sorry if things look different, but we are back. Okay, so next we have Missing Clarissa by Ripley Jones. This is being released on March 7th, and it is a young adult mystery thriller. It looks very similar to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is what really drew me in, but it's basically about two high school students who decide to start a true crime podcast on a murder that was unsolved back in 1999. And I believe while they're doing this like podcast, they uncover some things, they fall into some danger. It just looks really exciting, so I am really excited to read this one. Next we have A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. This is being released on March 7th, and if this title hasn't already drawn you in, like, wow, it just looks so fun and cute and exciting and so silly, and I love a silly book. Basically, it's about this witch who accidentally summons a demon, and when her roommate comes home and is like, who is this? She doesn't want to be like, oh yeah, it's a demon I summoned. She says that it's her boyfriend, and then now they have to fake date while also being like, how do I get this demon to go away? It just looks so exciting, and like I said, very silly, so I'm really excited to read this. Next we have We're All Lying by Marie Still. This is being released on March 14th, and it is another mystery thriller. Basically, it's about this woman who has an amazing career, amazing life, amazing husband, amazing kids, and one day she receives an email from her husband's mistress, and she's like, wait, what is this? So while her and her husband are trying to like sort things out, the mistress actually goes missing. So all of a sudden they're like all involved in this murder case. What happened? It just looks really, really exciting and so drama fueled. I love like suburban mom drama, and this looks like exactly that. So I'm very excited to read this. Next we have Midnight Strikes. This is by Zeba Sharnaz, and it is another YA fantasy, and it is also being released on March 14th. The reason I have this on here is because like there's a time loop. One of my favorite tropes is books to do with time travel. Basically, our main character tries to stop this like rogue from assassinating the royal family. In doing so, she inadvertently creates a time loop, and now she's stuck in this awful night over and over again where she has to try and keep stopping this rogue. It looks so fun, so exciting. I love Groundhog Day type books, so this just looks really fun. Next, we have Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q Suntanto. This is also being released on March 14th, and it's another kind of cozy mystery vibe, much within the likes of Finley Donovan is killing it. This is about a woman who runs kind of a forgotten tea shop in Chinatown. She is like an elderly woman, and one day she comes downstairs and she sees a dead man on the floor of her tea shop. She's like, what's going on? But then she decides to kind of try and figure out the murder mystery on her own. Next we have The Witch and the Vampire by Francesca Flores. This is being released on March 21st, and it is a lesbian fantasy romance. Hello? Basically, it's about two girls that were childhood friends. One day a vampire like attacks the city or the town, and our main character Ava then becomes trapped in a tower by her mother, just due to the fear, I guess, of the attack. Her best friend Kay tries to break her out, who I think she's a witch as well. Anyway, I don't know, vampires, witches, and then they end up going on this journey through this dark forest while also falling in love. So excited, so cute. Next we have Chlorine by Jade Song. This is being released on March 28th. This is like a literary fiction. It looks so wacky and silly, kind of like Night Bitch or The Vegetarian, but so good. And basically it's about this swimmer who decides that in order to become a better swimmer, she has to become a mermaid. And so she begins the transition in turning into a mermaid. It sounds ridiculous, but I'm really excited to read this. The Goodreads page literally compares it to The Vegetarian, and I love that book, so obviously I'm gonna be reading this. Next we have a thriller. This is The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth, being released on April 4th. Basically this is about a couple that moves to this like kind of beachy town on this beautiful villa, which is actually on a cliff face. The husband kind of becomes this like hero because he saves people from like committing suicide by jumping off this cliff, and then one day there's someone that he doesn't save, and then there's this like whole mystery about it. I don't know why, but I love thrillers centered around like marriages but also about death. So exciting. So I'm excited to read this very morbid sounding book. Next we have The Secret Service of Tea and Treason by India Holton. This is the third installment in the like Wisteria Society books, and I've only read the first one, but I absolutely loved it so much. So of course I'm really excited to read this fantasy historical romance. Basically a romance between two spies set in Victorian England, and I'm so excited to read another one of these silly little books. Next we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. I'm sure this is a lot of other people's most anticipated book as well. This is basically about a couple who have recently broken up, but they still have to go on a vacation with their friends. So they pretend to still be dating while they're on this vacation as to not like cause drama or cause worry. I think this is gonna be a really heartbreaking book rather than like a fluffy rom-com. Basically just about the ins and outs of a relationship and what can make two people in love kind of fall out of it. And I love Emily Henry's writing style, so I'm really excited to see what this book brings. And I'm also really glad that people have kind of stopped marketing her books as fluffy romances, because this definitely doesn't seem like a fluffy romance. Next we have Just As You Are by Camille Kellogg, and this is being released on April 25th. This is another lesbian romance, and basically it's an enemies to lovers romance about a woman who hates her boss but then starts to like fall in love with her boss. It is inspired by Pride and Prejudice. I've read another lesbian romance inspired by Pride and Prejudice before, which is Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellfleur, and I absolutely love that, so I'm really excited to read this one as well. Next we have The Daydreams by Laura Hankin. This has been released on May 2nd, and it's just kind of like an adult fiction contemporary, but it sounds so exciting. Basically it's about these TV stars who were in a really popular teen show in the 2000s, and they have like a reunion coming up, and we basically follow the lives of these 4 like famous teenagers and the different paths they took in their lives after the show ended, and it just looks so good. I love books about this sort of thing, and it really makes me think of like, what's the cast of Gossip Girl doing right now? What's the cast of like the OC doing right now? It seems like that vibe, so I'm really excited to see how the author like portrays this kind of world. Next we have Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. Carly Fortune wrote Every Summer After, which is kind of a book that has, I guess, taken the book internet sphere by storm, and I haven't read it yet, but I really want to, so obviously I'm going to add this onto the list as well. It seems like another book that spans over a long period of time, like childhood friends to like lovers, I don't know, but you know, I like an epic love story, and this seems like exactly that, so I'm really excited to read this as well. Next we have The Guest by Emma Cline. This is being released on May 16th, and I believe it's like literary fiction. I read another Emma Cline book way back in like 2016 or something, and I quite liked it, so I'm excited to see what this one brings. I believe this is about a woman who all of a sudden finds herself homeless, so she's kind of drifting through Long Island and trying to, I guess, just survive. It just looks really interesting, and I really liked Emma Cline's writing style, so I'm excited to read this one as well. Next we have The Three of Us by Or Igbaji Williams. This is being released on May 16th, and I'm really excited for this one because the whole book spans over the events of one evening. It's basically about a couple who's kind of in turmoil, and then I think the wife's friend comes to stay, and then it's this like really awkward comedy of manners character study. I love a comedy of manners, so I'm excited to read this one as well. It just looks really funny and really exciting. Next we have Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. You guys know R.F. Kuang is one of my favorite authors, so I am so beyond excited to read this one. This is a academic rivals novel about a white girl and a Chinese girl. They are both writers. I believe the white girl ends up stealing the Chinese girl's works and palming it off as her own. So this looks like it's going to be very, very interesting. I love R.F. Kuang, and I'm really excited to see what she does with this novel. Next we have She Started It by Sian Gilbert. This is another thriller, and it's being released on June 13th. This is about a group of young women who go to a Caribbean island for a bachelorette party, and the Goodreads page describes it as Lord of the Flies cross with And Then There Were None, except with Instagram and Prosecco. I'm here for it. I like both those books, and I love that sort of story about women who are kind of like stuck together. Not necessarily women, just people who are stuck together trying to survive. So this looks really good. Next we have You Can't Stay Here Forever by Catherine Lin. This is being released on June 13th, and this has been compared to Sally Rooney, so I'm really excited to read it. It's about a woman whose husband dies, and then after he dies, she realizes that he had a mistress. So she kind of like goes on holiday to try and come to terms with it all, but also trying to like uncover everything that her husband did back before he died. It looks really heartbreaking, really sad, but really intense, and because of that I'm excited to read it. Next we have To Heaven to Heist by Sarah Desai. This is being released on June 13th, and I believe this is like a spy romance, and I'm so here for that. It looks so good. It's like a romantic comedy. It's been described as slow burn and also just like two spies. Hello, it sounds so much fun. We also have Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood. This is being released on June 13th, and yes, Ellie Hazelwood kind of just writes the same book over and over, but am I going to stop reading them? No, I'm not. This is another academic rivals fake dating book, you know, two scientists. I am so relieved that the main character on the cover does not look like Adam Driver. Next we have The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This is being released on June 20th, and I am an absolute Riley Sager stan, so I am so excited for this. Oh my god, sorry for getting loud. I'm so excited. This is a mystery thriller. Obviously Riley Sager is known for their mystery thrillers. This looks like it's going to be more of like a gothic horror. It's about a young woman who is a caregiver, and she ends up becoming a caregiver of a woman who was accused of like a massacre of murders. It looks so chilling, so exciting. I love Riley Sager, and this just seems like such an interesting concept, so I'm so excited to read this one. Next we have another rom-com, of course. This is Will They or Won't They by Ava Wilder. This is being released on June 27th. This is about two co-stars in a movie. On screen, they're playing love interests. They're supposed to be obsessed with each other, but then off screen, they are absolute enemies. So obviously, enemies to lovers. Love that. Sorry, they're actually filming a TV show and they had a fling in season 1. And then in season 2, they've broken up. So it's also second chance. Oh my God. I'm so excited to read this. This one definitely is one of the most exciting rom-coms on this list for me. Next we have The Sunset Crowd by Karan Tanabe. This is being released on July 4th and it looks like it's a historical fiction very similar to something like Daisy Jones and the Six or Malibu Rising. It's about a nepotism baby in Hollywood in the 1970s and then 2 other main characters who are young women who are looking to be famous or something like that. And basically it's just about these girls like fighting their way to the top. I love books like this, especially set in the 1970s. It just looks so exciting and I cannot wait to read a book like this. It looks so fun. Next we have Hello Stranger by Catherine Center, another romance. This is being released on July 11th. It's about a woman who is a painter and then one day she's in a tragic accident and then all of a sudden she has been diagnosed with face blindness. She meets this veterinarian and I think they begin some sort of like whirlwind romance. This looks like less of a romantic comedy, more of a very heartfelt, like intense romance, and I'm so excited to read this. It sounds like such an interesting concept. Next we have something that looks like more of like a steamy romance vibe, and this is Bitter Notes by Ali Beck. This is being released on July 14th and it's a reverse harem romance about this woman who has like this entire band, like all obsessed with her, all like they want to date her. I believe they're all from the same small town. It just looks so fun and so ridiculous, and honestly it literally looks like a fan fiction being made into a novel. However, I'm really excited to see what this book brings. It just looks so silly. Silly is the word of the day. It looks so silly and I'm here for it. Next we have Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington and this is being released on July 25th. This is another young adult mystery and this looks really interesting. It's basically about a black teenager. She's the main character and she doesn't get into an Ivy League school first off, but she is offered to participate in like a competition to get the last spot in this like elite Ivy League school. And the Goodreads page describes it as Ace of Spades meets Squid Game meets The Bachelor. I don't know about you, but I'm here for it. I haven't read Ace of Spades, but I'm here for it. I loved Squid Game and I don't mind a little bit of a Bachelor vibe. I'm really excited to read this. It looks like it's gonna be a really hard-hitting thriller and I'm so excited. It sounds so good. Okay, this next book is like the most Jamie book in the world, to the point where it is literally being released one day before my birthday. And if you watch me on Twitch, you will know this side of me. But this book is called Shark Heart, A Love Story by Emily Habeck, and this is being released on August the 8th. And basically it's about this married couple, and then one day the husband gets this really rare medical diagnosis where he will retain all consciousness and memory except his physical form will turn into a great white shark. Why is that the most me book I have ever heard in my life? Like, it is so ridiculous. It sounds like the book Chlorine, the one I mentioned before. I cannot wait to read this. It actually sounds so bizarre, but so good. Basically, the married couple just try and figure out if there is a way they can be together while he is literally a great white shark. This just looks so good. I'm so excited to read this. It looks so silly, but so good. Next, we have a release that I think is going to be anticipated for a lot of YA fantasy readers, but this is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, and this is being released on September 1st. The one reason I've put this on my anticipated list is because I've never actually read Cassandra Clare before, but I feel very left out. Like, I feel like I want to get into her huge series, but I feel left out, but I also feel overwhelmed because there is a lot. However, this is the first book in a brand new like fantasy world. So I feel like I can read this and not feel like a little left out girly. Like, I can have fun with the rest of you. It doesn't really say anything about the synopsis on the Goodreads page, but it says that it is about a young man who is a body double for a prince, a young woman destined to change the world, and then a host of other characters who are all like criminals and princes and magicians. It just sounds fun, and I'm ready to dive into a YA fantasy and be one of the first to read it. Like, I'm ready for that. So I do want to read this. And finally, our last book is Beverly Bonifinch is Dead. This is by Kristen Seeley and it's being released on September 1st. This really reminds me of something like Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, and I loved that book. So I do really want to read this. It also gives me like kind of Frederick Buckman vibes, like Anxious People vibes in a sense. Basically, it's about this woman who has really strict routines and she doesn't love a lot in her life except for her parents, her books, and this homeless man that she's friends with. Then one day this man enters into her life and she's like, wait, what are these feelings? I've never experienced this before. And I believe it's some sort of romance, but also just like a very intense character study, and I'm really into that. So I am really excited to give this book a go. I believe it's also a debut novel, and I'm really keen on reading debut novels. I love discovering new authors that not many people are talking about, so I am really excited to read this one as well. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I know that I only talked about 56 books instead of 58 if anyone was counting, but that's because when I was going through my notes app of all the books that I had written down when I was doing my research, there were 2 that I just could not find for the life of me. I must have imagined them. But yeah, those are 56 books coming out in 2023 that I am excited for. I'll probably do another video halfway through the year of books coming out towards the end of the year, because I'm sure you would have realized that I only talked about books that are coming out up until September, but that's because a lot of books haven't been announced yet. So do not worry, there'll be another video like this halfway through 2023. Guys, let me know what books you like the sound of. I hope you have figured out some other ones that maybe weren't on your radar and now they are. Let me know if there are any anticipated releases that I've missed that you're really looking forward to. And also a reminder that you can join my Patreon, and there you get 3 exclusive videos and 3 exclusive live shows and early access to everything and so much more. So I hope to see you on Patreon. Also, all the rest of my socials are linked down below. Sorry, this is a really long-winded conclusion. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in another video.